Freedom's greetings, Helldivers. Horsehead Hoyt here, bringing freedom straight from the SES stallion of family values. You know why you clicked on this video. You want to coat your blade in the blood and oil of democracy's enemies. You want to pierce the heart of tyranny with the righteous spear of liberty. Well, boy, do I have a guide for you. I am glad to present Horse's Guide to Knightdiving and how to stay viable while you do so, starting with the undemocratic cult of the Illuminate. The Illuminate is perhaps the worst faction for knightdiving, so the basic loadout of sword, shield, and crossbow will have to take a back seat for this. Why, you may be asking? Well, the enemies require different melee weapons to take them down. For example, the Overseers need a stun lance to take them down, or the Righteous Flag of Super Earth, of course. The Voteless need a fast swinging weapon to dispatch their hordes safely, like the Saber, and the flesh mobs will tear you up regardless of which melee you use. That is, unless you're critical hit ventures. That guy plays by his own rules. This isn't even speaking of the elevated Overseers, the Harvesters, and the Stingray, who in their cowardice refuse to fight you on equal terms. How do we resolve this? Well, I propose this loadout. Peak Physique Armor, Eruptor, Saber, Thermite. For your stratagems, you'll want the Eagle Airstrike, the Stalwart, the Hover Pack, and finally the Rocket Sentry. In Illuminate missions, you'll find sectors with buildings. Your Hover Pack will help you get atop these buildings, trivializing all ground troops. Your Eruptor and Stalwart can destroy Illuminate outposts handily, along with the Harvester, the Stingray, the Flesh Mobs, and every Overseer. And finally, the Saber will help you cut through hordes of Voteless when you get swarmed with no building to jet up to. Try it out, you'll be a one-man army. Now who's next but the ruthless socialist automatons? For the automatons we have two options, the defoliation tool or my personal choice, the machete. Let's compare the two, starting with our newest melee. The defoliation tool works with ramping damage and armor pen over time, meaning in specific scenarios it can kill even the biggest of bots, with the downside of taking a support weapon slot and the crippling weakness of hits that don't register sometimes. Both of these lead to the defoliation tool not being viable. Next, the machete. The machete will stagger every devastator with its swings, berserkers included, meaning all you need to do is get close unscathed, and with my patented Fotsy jump scare technique, you can handle those medium bots with ease. As for the rest of the loadout, I would choose between Peak Physique and Reinforced Epaulets. Both provide melee damage. For your primary, you'll want the Explosive Crossbow if you want to be able to close Fabricators, or if you want straight lethality, use the PP, otherwise known as the Punisher Plasma. Of course, you'll want Thermite, and for your stratagems, use the Eagle Airstrike, the Eagle 500 kilogram bomb. Take your pick between the EAT and Commando, and finally you'll want a Warp Pack to close the distance. Now that we've covered both the bots and squids, let's move on to the vile and disgusting dissident Terminids. Ah, the buds. Their feeble minds cannot comprehend their own purpose, to be fuel, the lifeblood of the Federation. Fighting the Terminids will finally put a shield to use, as this faction wants above all else to get in our face. The machete flows the best with combat against them, though I do have some tips. 1. Don't use the machete on scavengers. You don't swing nearly fast enough to deal with multiple. Switch to your primary and hit them with the butt of your rifle. 2. Respect the hunter leap. Either shield it or shoot them out of the sky. 3. Triple tap Hive Guards, Bile Spewers, and Alpha Commanders that you just killed. They like to play dead on you. Now that the tips are done, here's the loadout. Peak Physique Armor, Explosive Crossbow, the Machete. Perfect for spilling E710 and closing bug holes. Use Thermites for chargers, and for your stratagems, you'll want the Orbital Rail Cannon to be used on Bile Titans. You'll want the Stalwart, the Ballistic Shield, and finally the HMG emplacement. I use emplacements over sentries for buds, because sentries love killing the enemies of liberty so much, they'll shoot through you to do it. If you want a job done right, do it yourself. And that's my guide. You may have noticed many melees being left out, so I'll fire off the reasons why now. The Hatchet, a middle ground between the machete and saber. The problem with this is that you won't stagger devastators like the machete will, you won't clear voteless hordes like the saber will, the swing rate is just not high enough to deal with them without taking damage. This works for buds though, you just aren't getting as much bang for each swing like you would with the machete. The Stun Baton, identical swing speed to the saber, but only 50 damage per swing is just pathetic. Why stun an enemy when you could just kill it? The Spear, and by extension, the glorious flag is Super Earth. You'll be safe behind your shield with this spear, but without horde clear potential, you'll be surrounded and swarmed by both voteless and by bugs. This case could be made for their use against overseers and versus devastators, but I've found it doesn't get the job done as well as other options. That being said, on lower levels, with a stratagem slot to spare, the flag will always have a place in my loadout. Remember, my word is not gospel, and above all else, play so that you have fun. That's what the game is all about. That being said, how did you like the video? Do you agree with my takes here? Let's hear some of the melee loadouts you've worked out. I love to hear it in the comments below. Do you know that 1 billion of you watching are not subscribed? Consider dropping me a sub. I'd like to do more of these videos. So a sub would help a lot, you know? I also stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/horsehairhoyt. I'm trying to get affiliates so I can make redeemable point awards, like allowing you all to pick me a primary, pick me a loadout, and much more, so consider dropping by and dropping me a follow. In any case, that's all for today. Liberty be with you all, Helldivers. Have a great day.